Hey friends, ZenKahuna here. I'm going to show you today how you can modify, customize, supercharge your WorldFit Iso Strap and turn it into a multi-dimensional tool that will allow you to do isometrics, Isoflow, Isomotion, Isokinetics, Isoelastics, all sorts of good stuff without putting out the big dollars for a T2 ISO trainer or even the Bulwarker Isoflow. It's going to totally transform your WorldFit into a top world-class isometric isotonic tool. So all you're going to need for that is one carabiner, one ring, and one strap of some kind. We'll go into more details in just a minute. You'll see how they're used. We'll talk about what quality to get and so on and so forth. Also, you're going to need some sort of a bungee or band, a fitness band. So let's take a look at how. Okay friends, we're going to do a quick look at the pieces and talk a little bit about how we're going to connect them. Then we'll actually go and do it. You can see me using it in all the different ways that I like to use it. Here's our basic strap. So we've got, I've already put the ring on it, but I'll show you again how that works. All you have to do is take this ring and the handle just slips right through it. That's the ring you're going to buy at the hardware store. So again, just to put it on, just flatten out your handle there, pull it right through the strap, and there you have it. Pull the other one, the adjustable part of the strap, out from the ring, and there you have it. Okay, so that's that component. Now, once you've got this hooked up, let's say that you're going to want to do this standing. You want to do some standing isometrics with the anchor down at the feet. Well, what you want then is a strap. Now this strap I also got at Sportsman's Warehouse. It's rated up to 1,800 pounds, so it's not going to tear, rip. The cam buckle is decent. It's the 6-foot length. I also have a 4-foot. You can see that the stitching is multiple and very well done, so it's not going anywhere. This is what you'd put your feet through. This is also, if you wanted to hook it up to a tree, what you'd use, or up to a pole, or a telephone pole, or a fence post, or anything else that you can see that you can hook it to, like the leg of the table here, or around the wooden part of the bench here that I'm sitting on. So that would be that component. And you've got your little carabiner on here, so you're just ready to hook up, and you would start doing your isometric or isotonic moves, whichever you're preferring at that moment. Or the way I do lots of times, I start up with isometric, then go right into 10 to 15 reps of heavy, slow isotonic move, and then move on to the next isometric move. All right, so that would be the connection if you were anchoring down to the ground, or if you were anchoring to anything else that is around you. And remember, you can anchor up above you, you can anchor directly out from you, from down low. There's numerous possibilities, and you're going to see some of those. Why would we bother with this? Well, the reason you bother with it is because you've taken then this $30 delivered, I love it, well, there's tax, but you can get it prime from Amazon for 30 bucks, $29.99. It's an outstanding strap for just straight up isometrics. You can actually throw the straps over a pole or over a chin-up bar or whatever and do it that way, but then you still aren't going to get the same amount of friction and power requirement as if you're running it through either a carabiner or a ring. So we want to make it supercharged. We want it fantastic. We want it to be able to be so versatile that we use it regularly, like maybe even every day. That's what I do. So to do that, we've got our first additions. We've got the strap for an anchor, got a carabiner, we got a ring. Now I also use a smaller strap, which is just simply, this was a loop, and then stitch it down in the middle. You've got a figure 8. It goes over nicely. It doesn't, you don't even actually need that, just so long as it's a loop. And then with your carabiner, it just goes over and hooks, so you've got your carabiner hanging down, and that will then hook into your ring, okay? The other thing is you want a door stop. So if you want to do it inside, you can do it. Again, put your trusty carabiner on your door stop. I know a lot of you already have this because you've bought bands in a package set, and it comes with a door hook. Oftentimes, you know, you'll find these for $5, $8, $9, $10 at the most, right? Make sure it's a good sturdy one. The one other thing that you'll want is some kind of a resistance band. So I like this one, but you can also use a cloth one, cloth covered, with rubber on the inside, so that if it breaks, theoretically, it won't snap and hit you. I've never had one snap on me while I was using it in any way where it was dangerous, but some people I know have. They've been hit and got black and blue, but I get black and blue almost every day from hitting something, because I'm always outside and playing and messing around. So those are the basic components. Now, there are some other things that you could add. For example, if you have a thick belt with a really sturdy buckle that isn't going to rip apart, and of course this is a synthetic, it's like at least twice, maybe a little bit more, the thickness of any of these kind of belts that you usually see. It's a gun belt. And ordered it right off of Amazon, came, put my carabiner on it, so I stand on this with my 2 feet and run that into my ring, and this gives me nice, smooth, wide hold that I can put my feet on. Now, could I use this? Of course I could. It's just that this is a little thinner, and so it cuts into the foot just a little bit more. It's not significant, it's not terrible, but I like things exactly the way I like them. So this is what I stand on, although of course it could be wrapped around a pole or a smaller tree and so on and so forth, right? This is what I wrap around the poles and the trees most of the time. That being said, you know me, I improvise and use whatever I have in any way that I can to achieve the outcomes that I want. And it doesn't have to be a fancy belt like that. This is an old cotton belt that I've had for years. It just will not die. It's absolutely solid. I've used it a lot, and it never has given me any problem at all. You got a pooch? If you got a good dog collar on him, take the dog collar off, wrap it around the pole. You even got a little ring here, so you can hook your carabiner into that, right? So what I'm trying to get across to you is there are many ways to go about supercharging your WorldFit so that it is basically the equivalent, or in some ways, to my way of thinking, even better than the T2 ISO trainer, which cost about, at least I've seen it, is $166 with free shipping. Then you still pay tax. You're looking at $80 for a Bullworker Isoflow, okay? So I would have to add a couple of these things, and I have, because I have both of those, of course, to make them supercharge them up just a little bit too, because everything can usually use a little fine tuning and customizing for your unique desires. All right, so let's go ahead and break off now into putting this into practice so you can see what I've been talking about. So here we are, hooked up to a tree. We've got the carabiner, which is another part of our supercharging. We've got our bungee cords, and of course those are running through the ring that the WorldFit Isometric strap is also connected to. And of course, there's the other part. All right, so let's take a look at the first attachment. So here's this great little pole here just waiting for me. I'm using my smaller strap and a carabiner. So I run the strap through, hook it up to the carabiner. So now I've got a connection point for the ring. Take the ring, hook it up, I'm ready to go. So I'm going to lengthen my straps. So at this point, you could still be doing all of the isometric kinds of things that you might do. So one of my favorite, especially when it's a little high like that, I'm going to take it, hold with one hand both of the handles, and push into it. So there's my basic isometric, right? So here, whatever I like to do, I can do. I can use it for punching. I just go the opposite way. Practice my pressing. This way, that way, that way. Lots of different ways you can use it, right? So you already know how to do your isometric stuff. But what this gives you then is that option for isotonic. So if you go light, you're just sliding right over that ring. Nice warm up. If you start to put a little bit more pull on it, go a little slower, now you're starting to get some pressure going on. Now you got some strength requirements going. Now if you slow it down and put even more, it is potent. So yes, it is self-resistance, but you have that force multiplier in the ring. Or if you got the T2, it's in that housing. Or if you've got the Isoflow, it's in the carabiner. So whatever you have, remember, be happy with it and use it. All right, so that's high. Let's say then I want to do something low. I want to practice some upward at an angle this way. When you've got a strap like this, it really doesn't take much. All I have to do is take one of the straps here, run it out of the carabiner, and then just bring it down to wherever else I'd like to be. So if I want to be all the way down here, I can do that. Just run the strap back through. And once again, I'm ready to go with whatever kind of movements that I might want to be doing, or isometric. And of course you can do the isometrics at any range of motion, right? But what about the band, the stretch band, the fitness band? Well, if we want to use that, what we can do is just grab the band. I'm going to disconnect the ring from the carabiner. Then I'm going to run the band through the ring. Then I'm going to hook up to the carabiner again. Now what we have is the advantage of a latex band that you're going to feel substantially when you start to put some pressure on it. I mean, just holding it now, it's awesome, it's great. So let's hip hinge, we'll sit down some, get that band pulled out, and then practice. We can actually do band work with it. We can do our Isomotion with it, Isokinetic, right? Or we can do resisting isometric. So there's lots of possibilities, and again, very easy to change what you're doing. Next up, let's take a look at it if we're going to be standing on it. So I told you that for standing, I like to use this belt. So I can, in any position I want, begin to do the isometric. So let's just assume here I do isometrics. I might do that for 20 or 30 seconds. Then start to do my isotonic, working those same muscles, but taking it through range of motion. I could lighten it up, just knock out a few reps, or I can go nice and slow. And oftentimes when going slow, you'll feel where you are not as strong as you might like to be. In other words, like in a range of motion, you might find, you know, an inch or 2 or 3 inches where you're feeling a little weak or a little bit of stress on the joint. What you can do is note those areas and then actually do isometric to strengthen in that area. Okay, so how about, you know, if we wanted to do our curls, or we could do them isometrically. We could do them at any position, anywhere we like, right? We could knock out a few fast ones just to warm it up. You can also take the strap, of course, and just pull it down so you're holding it like so, if you wanted to do hammer curls, right? Slow it down. Oh yeah, okay. And you can see, nice wide band that I'm stepping on allows me to do whatever I want to do. I just come down a little bit, chest up, and then start to push with my legs. And once I've got my isometric hold, breathe in and holding. Okay, your full range, and so I'm pushing the earth away with my legs, tightening the glutes, the belly. Keep the spine nice and long and erect, right? So all sorts of things that you can do while standing on it. WorldFit SuperCharged, customized, modified. It came to you by way of the ZenKahuna. But remember, you're the guru. You do what works best for you. And just a final word here, I want to be clear that the T2 Iso Trainer and the Isoflow are both outstanding isometric and isotonic tools. What I showed you in this video was a way to less expensively create one for yourself, save yourself a few bucks, and put more time into playing instead of having to work more.